And how are you doing? Why does this zoom in when the video starts? Very strange. So I hope you're there. I hope you can hear me okay. I just commented to say I was going to be late because I was feeding my little one, and I was feeding my little one, and I heard a massive bang directly outside the window where I was feeding him. And what happened was we've got a playpen on our balcony there, so obviously my little one can crawl now. Well, army crawl. And my husband apparently tried to climb over it in a rush and tripped over and nearly fell off the balcony. So I obviously shouted like, "Are you okay?" And needless to say, Bull woke up from his slumbery feed and wasn't interested anymore. So given up on getting him to nap, and yeah, here I am, just 9 minutes late. So today I'm doing a Q&A. I've got a couple of questions which have already been asked. Well, I'm doing 3 of my frequently asked questions because I hear these all the time, and I think it'll, it's going to really help a lot of people. And then I have one question so far, which has been asked prior to this live. But if you want to leave any more questions, then please do in the comments, and I will answer them when I get there. So I'm just going to double check that I am live. Yes, here I am, and yeah, and it's taken away the option for me to invite anyone, or is that just on the page? Let me have a look. Try again. Oh yeah, can't invite people while I was showing us myself. So there we go. Right. So of the questions that I've got to answer, first of all, a question I hear a lot is, when should I run Facebook ads? Because a lot of people, they think I've got a business, right? I've got a product. I know who I want to sell it to. So let's start to run Facebook ads. It's not a good time to do it. So you should only start to run Facebook ads when you're already successful with your organic efforts. So what I mean by successful is not millionaire raking it in, not 6-figure business, but I just mean you're getting the results that you're looking for. So when you're already getting leads, when you're already getting sales, and when as far as you've pushed your organic limits, you know that you've got your processes down to a T, you've got your product down to a T, you've got your offer, you've nailed your offer, everyone loves it, that is when it's time to run Facebook ads. So Facebook ads should be always thought of as an enhancer or a scaler rather than a lifesaver. So if you've got a product but you're just not getting any sales, you're not resonating with your audience, and you're just thinking, I need to do something. I know, I'm going to try running Facebook ads. That is the worst thing you can do, because what it means is what it probably means is you're going to be throwing that budget down the drain. Either just the budget if you're doing it yourself, or probably the budget and a bit extra if you're paying someone to do it for you. And if you're hiring like an agency to do it, then they're not going to tell you not to do it, because they're just going to take your money like that. So that's the first one. And the other thing with that is you just need to really, really know your audience. So I've worked with people before who guaranteed me they were ready to run ads, they knew their audience, and then when we got into it, they didn't actually know their ICA, they didn't know their major pain points, they didn't know their deepest desires. And then like halfway through the campaign, it's like, oh, actually, yeah, so this isn't my audience we've been targeting for the last week or whatever, and it's just a waste of money. Like, so you just need to make sure you've got all of that really, really clear. There's also, in the units, you'll find some trainings on your ICA, on your offer, on pretty much everything now, I think. Yeah, so that was the first one. Another question I get asked a lot is, what is a pixel? And I think it's probably like, if you're a business owner and you're just getting into the world of Facebook ads, then you hear the word pixel and your brain goes, because it just sounds scary, right? I know it sounds scary, but literally all pixel means is a tiny bit of code, so a bit of writing basically, that needs to go on the back end of your website. So not on the bit you can see, but the bit where the web developers work. So quite simply, you can get it from your Facebook ads account and you can give it to your developer. If you created your website yourself, you can, if you used WordPress, for example, you can use plugins and just copy and paste the code there. If you use a program like Wix, Squarespace, what are the other ones? GoDaddy, there's another big one. Shopify, that's it, main one for e-commerce. They usually have in the settings a space where you can simply paste your pixel ID. And then all that does is when people go on your website, it remembers them. So it remembers them and it stores them in a little audience. Well, you've got to create the audience in Facebook, but it stores them in your pixel as people that you can create an audience out of. So for example, if you want people to see a specific page on your website, or if you wanted to show something to people that had only seen a certain page on your website, you can then create an audience out of the people who have seen that page and then show them the thing you want to show them. So you need to go into your audiences in Facebook ads and create an audience, which could be, for example, you go to a website and then you make sure you choose the name of your pixel, and then you just select like the web pages that you want, or it could just be anyone that's been on your website, and you can use people from up to 180 I forgot then 180 days ago, so it's like half a year basically. Yeah, and that's that. So that is the pixel. So if you've got any questions about that, let me know. Just another little pro tip there: if you type into Google Chrome, Facebook, type into Google Chrome Facebook Pixel Helper. It's a free Chrome extension. If you install it and put it on your Chrome, then you'll see a little icon in the top right, and then once you go on your website, that icon will change color to show you that a pixel is installed, and if you click on it, you should see the ID of your pixel, and you should see like what it's tracking. It will tell you if it's like page view or, you know, any conversions or something. If you use certain plugins on WordPress like Pixel Caffeine or Facebook for WooCommerce or anything like that, then it will automatically set up e-commerce events. So things like when people view product or add to cart or initiate checkout or add payment details or purchase, those should all be tracked. And hopefully, if it's done right, you should also be able to track the purchase value, so you can track how much money you're getting back from the sales. So all of this comes within that little pixel, that tiny little bit of code that you put on your website. So it's really, really crucial, really, really important. Sounds really, really scary, but if in doubt, just forward it to your web developer, and they will know what to do with it. So number 3, I get asked this a lot. Where do I start? Now, it's a really, really difficult question. It's a really tricky one, right? To know where to start, you just need to ask yourself a lot of questions. You need to ask yourself things like what is my goal? And I don't just mean what is my goal, like everyone's goal is to make sales, to get rich, but you need to think like, you know, what is my goal? Not just within Facebook ads in a campaign, you know, like you can have, you know, you can choose a campaign objective, which is like leads, reach, brand awareness, leads, anything like that. But you need to ask yourself, what are my big goals? And then you need to think about, what are the little goals I need to make to get there? So if your goals are to make lots of sales, then that isn't necessarily going to be your goal on Facebook, because what you need to think about is, how much budget do I have to spend? This is a big question you need to ask yourself realistically. And when you work out how much budget you have to spend, you could work it out logically. If you think about the amount of money you get into your business every month, you could take, say, 10% of that or 20% of that, and then keep that for Facebook ads. And I mean, that's like before anything goes out, not what's left over at the end. But you need to like make yourself a set budget, and you need to decide how much money you're willing to lose. Because when it comes to Facebook ads, especially in the beginning, you have to be prepared to lose that. And it's the harsh but honest truth, because, well, if you don't really know what you're doing, then it's more of a gamble. But also, while you've not been running ads consistently, then you don't have data to work with. Data costs money, because it's what makes you succeed in the end, is having data and knowing how to read that data. So you need to really think about what your budget is. So if your business is bringing in, like, say, $3,000, and then let's just do the maths here, and so you're going to put like 10% aside, so that's like 300. So that would be a daily budget of £10. So you need to think about, it's not a very big budget. So based on that, you wouldn't be able to use Facebook ads to run ads to sell a high-end ticket, because Facebook knows what things are worth to you. Facebook knows what industry you're in, and it's going to cost you. What you need to do is you need to go and do some research about your industry and what the benchmark amounts are. So if you can see that the average cost per acquisition, which means the price you pay to get a new customer or get that sale, if you can see that the average cost per acquisition is £300, then your budget's going to need to be a hell of a lot bigger than £300 to get that on Facebook ads. You're going to need like 10 times the amount. You're going to need like a £3,000 budget. So what you can do in that situation is you can step back a bit and say, okay, well, I'm not going to go for the sale. I've got a small budget. So what I'm going to try and do is go for a lead, because what you might find is once you've got someone in your world, you can easily convert them on a call or something else, and it's going to cost you a fraction of the price to just get their details, get them into your world, whether that's get them to book a call, get them to just complete a form on your website, get them to complete a form in your ads, or anything like that. That is going to cost a fraction of the price. So you need to think about things like that. You need to think about, you know, have I got an audience? Is my brand well known? Do I need to be well known? You need to think about, is my business, is what I do a personal matter, you know? Do people really need to get to know me before investing in me? Or do I sell shoes? In which case, no one needs to know me, they just got to see the shoes. If it's something where they need to know you, I mean, in most scenarios, especially when it's a service-based business, they need to know, like, and trust you anyway before they can buy into you. But with some things, it's a lot more personal. You know, like with coaches, no one is going to take a coach until they know you. So if you're a coach, for example, where do you start? Well, that would probably be by creating some videos and getting your face out there with videos and getting people to know you, you know the real you. So have I covered everything there? Yeah, so there's just no, you know, there's no right or wrong. There's no one size fits all. There's no magic formula that any, you know, Facebook ads guru can sell you. You know, it's different for everyone, and you've just got to think about, what can I afford? Where am I now? What's my next step? And then once you're making money from those first steps, or once you're benefiting, once you've achieved those goals, then you can go on to a next bigger goal, because you're already in it. You've already got more data. You already know it's working, and you know what your next steps are, basically. So that is kind of how I would answer, where do I start? I hope that helps at all. Let me know where you are on your ads journey. Let me know if you've got any questions, because I'm not seeing any comments coming up at the moment, but I know sometimes this doesn't work, so I'll have a look a bit later on. And then my last question is from, I'm going to apologise in advance because I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it Gorgia or Gorzia? I do apologise, do let me know, but and I should have kept this open. So I'm just going to read the question, because basically I've been speaking to Gorzia before this last week, and I gave a little bit of advice about a different subject. So her question is, hey Sophie, I've set up some ads running lifetime budget for like 4 to 7 days, and they're doing very well. So now, once we're almost at the end of the lifetime, I'm wondering how to keep those results. Do I extend the end date, adding more budget? Thank you. So this is a really, really great question, and again, it's a difficult one to answer, because annoying answer, but there is no right or wrong in this. You've just got to try it. But the simple answer is, for an evergreen offer, you should use a daily budget, because it doesn't have an end date. You just keep it running. But this is something that we were talking about the other day as well, is when you run a daily budget rather than a lifetime budget, Facebook will spend that budget every day. And the thing is, when you're running a long campaign, sorry, this is for the benefit of everyone else, not you, Gorgia, I know you already know this. When you're running like a daily budget, say you're running it over a month, and say during that month you've got like one weekend where something really big's happening. Let's just say Black Friday with the elections, we've got it all coming up. Those days might be really, really bad days for you to advertise on, because there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of noise out there, and it's just a bad time to do it. Now, Facebook doesn't care about this. If you're doing a daily budget, it will... Oh my god, my cat, why does he do it when I'm doing these lives? He did it the other week, it's just jumped on the top there. Or, yeah, it would... regardless of the results, the things you're going to get, Facebook will spend all of your budget then. So even if you're bidding a stupidly high amount, all Facebook cares about is using a budget. Whereas if you're doing a lifetime budget, then Facebook already knows that these are really shit days to advertise on. So it's going to, avoid those days, and it's going to hold it and save it until next week when it's calmed down a bit. Like, Facebook is going to work that in your favor. But then, so back to the question here is, should I use lifetime or daily? Well, lifetime's a lot better for that. So if you're running a conversions campaign, then your prices can get pretty high. So it's always better to do it on lifetime. Except when you want it to be an evergreen event, you've then got two options. You can either duplicate the campaign and start again and do it like for a month at a time, or you could change the end date and increase the budget, which is what Gorgia is asking here. So what the things you got to think about is, when you're running a conversions campaign, when you first start to run the ads, Facebook goes into something which is called the learning phase. And what that means is, for the first 50 conversions, as long as you get 50 conversions within a week, then your campaign will exit the learning phase. But if you were to duplicate that campaign, my cat is crazy. If you were to duplicate that campaign, it would reset the learning phase, and then you'd have to spend all that money again to make it exit the learning phase, and it's going to be a massive ball ache. If you change the end state of a campaign, that is not considered what's the phrase they use? Significant change, a significant edit. Basically, a significant edit is something that will make it re-enter the learning phase, but end state is not a significant edit. However, budget can be. There's no guidelines. So if you edit the budget a little bit, then it's not a significant edit, which means you can do that. But the thing is, you have to make sure whatever you're extending it by, you have to calculate. So if at the moment you're running it on a 200 for a week, you have to work out what the daily budget is there. So that would be like around 30, wouldn't it? And then whatever you're extending it by, if you're extending it by like a month, then you have to times 30 by that month, so it would be like an extra 900. Does that make sense? I'm sorry if that maths isn't very good. I'm not very good when I'm put on the spot with maths. But as long as the daily budget is still the same, you're not going to make it re-enter the learning phase. So it's still going to keep that data, in theory, that you've already done. So that would be the best option, is just to extend the end date. But then obviously you've got other things to think about, because you're going to carry on testing things and whatnot, and that's always going to go back into the learning phase. So yeah, I think the other thing is, if you're not doing conversion campaign, if it's a different sort of campaign, like something, like if it's just a warm audience and you're doing a reach campaign, then you can think of it differently, because with a daily budget, the price you pay is so much lower than if you're aiming for conversions, that if you used the daily budget and just kept it on evergreen, then there's no risk of having to spend that budget every day, because you're just reaching people. So Facebook will always go for the lowest hanging fruit. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not just running off on here. But a daily budget, if you're doing something like reach, it doesn't really matter if you're going to have to spend that budget all day, because you're still just reaching people in your audience. Whereas if you're doing like conversions, then it's going to find the people who are going to convert, who are going to cost higher, because you're going to be bidding higher because you're going for conversions. So it really depends on your objectives. It depends on all things like that. But I would say try it out first of all by extending the end date and increasing the budget, and hopefully it shouldn't re-enter the learning phase according to Facebook official guidelines. But the thing is, Facebook doesn't give any official guidelines into what is the best way to do that, because that is something I've actually been looking into for the last God knows how long, and I've never found a definitive answer other than, if it's evergreen, use a daily budget. And the other thing I wanted to say actually is, if you do want to use a daily budget, you can do that, but what you need to do is use advanced bidding strategies. So you've got three types of bidding strategies you can use. You've got cost cap, which means that Facebook will not spend any more than your maximum cost to get that conversion. You've got bid cap, which caps how much you'll bid for your Reach Pro 1000. And then you've got target cost, which is how much you want to spend per action, so how much you want to spend per purchase or per lead. So I just saw yesterday in Facebook they're actually taking away that third one. So soon there's not going to be target cost anymore. So I wouldn't bother with that anymore. But if you do cost cap. So basically, from the test you've been running, Gorgeous, over the last 4 to 7 days, whatever result rate you've been getting there, whatever cost per conversion or cost per lead or whatever, if he knocks over that mirror, I'm going to kill him. Rafas! Wait! Whatever your cost you've been getting there, if you then use that in cost cap, or add a few quid extra on cost cap, then that will stop them actually rinsing your daily budget if prices go really high. But it might just limit your reach, basically. But if you've got time to play with, you know, if it's evergreen, you do have time to play with, that's another thing I would recommend doing that. I wouldn't recommend doing bid cap unless you're like super strict on how much something's got to cost. But I would definitely just play around with the cost cap, because it's not gonna, you know, it's just gonna keep you safe in there. But the only thing is, when you change bidding strategy, that will put you back in the learning phase. So throughout that duration, costs, you know, your costs may go up again. But as long as you're getting like 50 conversions within that week, then that'll be fine. So yeah, that's it's a tricky one, you know. It's a really difficult one to know what to do. What I've been doing with one of mine is just literally duplicating it monthly, but it's a retargeting campaign, that one, and it's actually, I think I'm actually using the reach objective on it as well. So all I'm doing is reaching the people who have, you know, who have looked at this certain product on the one I'm thinking of, and each month I just repeat it, and it's fine, you know, it does absolutely fine, because when you restart that campaign again, Facebook it just finds, I don't know, you can when you use a reach campaign, you can limit the frequency of how frequent people see it. So if you've said it like only see this ad twice a week, then it's still going to remember when people have seen it if you're using the same ad. So yeah, there's just so many different things you can look into that. You can think about when you're doing that. And it's just one of these things that you just have to keep trying it. And the thing is, Facebook changes everything so frequently. It's like you finally nail something, and then they've got a completely new rule. But yeah, I would definitely either try extending and increasing the limit first. And if that doesn't work, you know, if a lot of people say, there's like rumors, you know, that if you do that, it messes up the algorithm. But that is just rumors. Like, as according to Facebook, it's not a significant edit. It's not going to make it go back into the learning phase. So I would just start with that. And if that doesn't work for you, then go back to daily and just try a different bidding strategy. So yeah, I hope that helps. Let me know your feedback. Let me know your thoughts. And also, let me know what you opt for in the end and how that works. And I do look forward to having a coffee and chat with you soon as well. Right, so I've still not got any questions here, so I'm just going to double check and see if I've got any on the any comments on the live one. I think it's a bit early in England now. It's because there's 7 hours difference between me and the UK now, whereas before there was 6. So it used to be like 10, half 10. Now it's like 9, half 9. So yeah, so let me know if you have any questions at all, if anyone's got any more. Yeah, otherwise I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching.